Welcome, everyone. This is Lila Meter with the New Jersey Mycological Association. This is Taxonomy Tuesday for September 9th, 2025. We gather together weekly to show off what we found or to get help to identify things that we've recently found. And we do this by showing photographs of our observations, either ideally in iNat or Mushroom Observer or on your computer, or if you haven't done that, you can email them to the Taxonomy Tuesday email address. And we'll take turns, and depending on how busy we are, we may speed up or slow down, but we don't seem to have very many people on yet tonight, so we should have time to look at everybody's observations. We'll aim for 3 to 5 per person, and if we have time, we can go back and look at some more. Is there anyone who would like to start sharing from their computer? Lauren and Mike or Christopher?
We don't have anything, Lila.
Don't have anything, okay. Did we lose Christopher? Oh no, Christopher's still there.
I was reaching for my microphone. I was eating.
Okay. Do you have something to share?
I got two I could share.
Super. Start us off. Thank you.
Now, let's see here. All right, these were both from Schwartzwood this weekend. This was this rosy conch.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we also found this at Stokes, and I preserved the specimen in case anybody
Oh, right.
wants to see it.
So very beautiful. And yours is such a nice specimen as well.
Rhodophomes rosea or something like that.
I had what was that? Fomitopsis cajendra.
Oh, okay.
Cajendra.
I got a different name from Sue, who I did that one at Stokes. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. It's a beautiful polypore. I liked it very much. Lovely color.
Yeah, it was on some log that was down that was in a bunch of hemlocks, and it looked like it was on more than likely a hemlock log. And I even snapped a picture when I was there at the table with it of the page I had open, and so I could refer back to the spores, which small and slightly allantoid, and that's what I came up with for it. I just thought it was a super cool color. I've never found anything like that.
It was amazing. The photos don't quite do it justice.
No.
In person, that was really spectacular. I'm not sure I've seen this before.
Christopher, what's the genus name for this again? Fomitopsis.
Yeah.
So it moved away from Rhodophomes. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I got it out of the Bassett book, and then as soon as I looked on the iNat, the AI that you love so much spit out the exact same name. So,
well, it doesn't mean anything. We have to go to Index Fungorum and see what they say. So, according to Co, there are two species. There's this one, Cajendra, and there's Roseus. And which is very similar. And apparently Roseus has more of a hoof-shaped fruiting bodies, not the flat ones that we see here. So I'm completely unfamiliar with polypores. I mean, I really suck at them. So I didn't even know there were two species that were, looking similar to each other before this.
Yeah, this one was fairly flat.
Yeah, and the one from Stokes was also flat.
Interesting.
Is Dave on? I think he was gonna keep that specimen from Stokes, and he was super interested in it.
Well, I got it.
Oh, you
I
do?
got it dried and it's in the fridge. So we could probably submit this for sequencing if we're doing any sequencing this year. So the specimen is there. Anybody who wants it, I think eventually it's going to wind up at our herbarium at Rutgers. But for the time being, I'm keeping it.
Good. Chris, do you know what happened to this one?
I left it there on the table. I took a little chunk home with me to do the little bit of micro I did, but that was it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how big of a chunk you need, but I could hold on to that one as well.
Yeah, please do. What is pore measurements for your specimen?
Pore measurements?
Spore measurements, yes. Spores.
Oh, I didn't measure, but I could go back because it wasn't from a drop. I couldn't get any from a drop.
Right.
That was I mean, honestly, none of them looked all that, like, they were still pretty irregular, everything that was on the slide. So
probably immature. The fruit body seemed kind of on the young side, maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust measuring them, honestly. But I could go back at it, but yeah, I don't know what it would get. I think the immature is definitely what was going on, because it was very soft and pliable. It seemed very fresh.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at Ko's pages for Cayanderi and Rosea, and the spore measurements are 4 to 8 by 2 to 3 for Cayanderi, and 6 to 8 by 2 to 3. So basically, Cayanderi has a slightly wider range of spores, from 4 to 8 versus 6 to 8 for Rosea.
That's interesting. Well, maybe I'll revisit that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, very, very pretty color. I mean, it really caught my eye at Stokes, and I've never seen anything like that before. I thought it was a very attractive polypore just based on the colors. Were very pastel lavender, just beautiful to the eye.
Yeah, I honestly, at first I was like, oh, that's like a weird, hypomyces or something. Or no, it was fresh and nice. And then I found this also up there, which I think is a Pluteus of some kind. Oh, I should have took a picture of this. I have it sitting, and I got a good spore print as well. But it's such a wide variety of these things. I don't really have it narrowed down to anything.
Can we see the gills again?
Oh, did that not end up in there? Oh man, I thought those were in there. I have two pictures of the gills. Maybe we could come back and revisit it.
Or is it growing on wood?
Oh, it was a bunch of like real decayed stuff on the ground, but yeah, like on the wood that was almost dirt.
The Pluteus, did you see any of those antler-shaped cystidia?
No.
Okay. Wondering, love to see the gills.
Yeah, I too would like to see the gills,
Yeah.
specifically the attachment there.
Let me.
And I mean, I saw the spores from when you were working with material. Did you get a spore print off of this thing?
Yes, actually, I do.
And
I'm just
the
looking
spore-
at it right now.
It's pink.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let me.
Could be Antiloma. Could be.
Let me go off.
Not with those spores, though. I mean, the the globose subglobose spores, pink. Yeah, that's
Oh,
a
true.
Pluteus thing.
The spores don't match. Yeah. Okay.
But that wrinkled cap is, I mean, interesting at the very least.
I mean, that was after a little while there of a ride, a 2-hour plus ride home. Picture of the spore print. And now I could go in and update it. I don't know if anybody else wants to go in the meantime.
Oh, Chris, just wanted to make one comment. I was looking up Fomitopsis cajendri, how you pronounce that. I don't know. That J is could be just like a Baja, like in in California kind of thing. Anyway, and there was one observation from Swartzwood from 2021 by Liz Broderick. From she made that observation basically 2 months before she died.
Okay.
So there's a record of that mushroom from Swartzwood, and that was not even with NJMA. I think she went there on her own because we didn't start coming there till last year, I think.
That's correct.
Oh, Schwartzwood is new to the club.
Yep.
Swartzwood is new to the club, so I'm leaving that observation here in the chat from 2021 by Liz Broderick. Anyone wants to look at that? So maybe whoever found this this year went to the same spot or something.
Yeah, it was right there. Um, just to the, if you were staring out at the lake, off to the right into the little campground areas, there's just a whole bunch of hemlocks.
Yeah, there are GPS coordinates for this observation, but they're hidden. So in essence, Liz took the coordinates, to her grave with her. So we'll never know where she found them. But yeah, well, there you go.
Thank you.
And the Pluteus, what's the name for that one? Do we have a name?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, all right.
But that's the print, and then got the gills.
Yeah. Looks like they're free, right?
Yeah.
Yep, sort of. You can kind of infer, but we kind of biased at the same time because we know it's a Pluteus.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you have a
But yeah,
photograph of the cap?
Yeah. That's the first.
Isn't there one that has some sort of a wrinkly cap?
I thought so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't think of the name though.
Is this
Well,
from section Pluteus or this is from another section? Anybody knows anything about Pluteus taxonomy?
I know where to find like a tree.
Yeah, I read that paper on section Pluteus, and then, then I realized that there's no way I can tell these apart without the
Yeah.
DNA. And I said to myself, I ain't sequencing Pluteus.
Or that
But
is
the Pluteus that you guys are referring to, is it a wrinkled cap or is it a striate cap?
it seems more wrinkly.
No, this one is definitely wrinkled, but Lyle is saying that as if there's like a species with a wrinkle cap. And I thought there was one too, but I cannot remember what the name is.
Yeah,
Well, I know some of them have like a more fibrous look to them.
Okay. Did
But
we
this one
save this
has more
collection?
of a.
Did we save this collection?
I still have this one.
Okay. Is it dried?
Not yet.
Oh, better put in the dryer before it decomposes.
Yeah,
Is this from the foray?
this is from Schwartzwood as well.
And it lasted this long, 2 days basically?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you probably kept them in the fridge, right?
no, I have a I have a container that's just like purposely not all the way closed, so I could get a decent print.
Yeah,
But it's
I was
still
just
pretty decent condition.
Yeah, I'm just, I was surprised because typically for these things, if you just leave them out for 2 days, thin-fleshed mushrooms like this, I mean, they'll be like gone. Just like Amanita section virginata, I mean, they don't last at all. I mean, they just dry out and wither away. Okay, well, please save a piece. We may have to, sequence this one.
Yeah, I'll save both of these. Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Christopher. You got us going here. I can pull up that observation that Igor dropped in. Brandon, what's the thing that you dropped in? Is that
it's just the different sections and clades of Pluteus
okay?
for anyone that wants to dig
Okay.
into that.
All right, not a mushroom to look at. Okay.
What's the reference for that one? The paper?
That's from Myco Quebec, and it's probably if you go to the Myco Quebec page for Pluteus, I think it's attached to every species they have, which is 39.
I see. Okay. Well, I downloaded the diagram here. And this is just section. Okay, so this is all the sections, the 3 sections of Pluteus.
Yeah, and there's no information on there. It's just this is the relationship to the different sections.
So can folks see this one from our late member Liz? Looks like it was growing on the end of a sawed-off log.
Man, this picture makes my find makes so much more sense in my head now because there was about 10 logs with a bunch of black old old fruit bodies of something that you would never be able to tell was this, but now I think all of those logs had big fruitings of this.
Yeah, it looks like it when it gets old, it definitely goes to this black crusty thing.
Yeah, and
Well,
apparently the species is very widespread in the USA. Lots of observations from the West Coast, as well as from Arizona, New Mexico, and the entire eastern USA, from Maine down to Louisiana. Only one post from New Jersey, and that's the one we're looking at right now. So no one else has posted the species on MO from New Jersey.
all right, Chris, get yours up there.
On Observer, I'm not a
What?
member.
Yes. Oh, you're not a member. Oh, that's a shame.
feels like a whole nother thing to do.
Well, it's actually easy to import observations from INAT to Mushroom Observer, and even Dave Ashlevsky took advantage of that scheme. So he doesn't post observations to MO anymore. He just downloads them or imports them from INAT, and this is where he posts them to begin with. So apparently, it's a very simple procedure.
Well, there was some.
I did it. It's real easy.
I thought I overheard somebody talking about like an introduction to INAT or something going on maybe at some point, but maybe that should be included in it.
I know on YouTube there's a Mushroom Observer like video on how to use Mushroom Observer, and there's probably a bunch on INAT
Yeah.
too. But there's definitely, like, by the creators of Mushroom Observer, there's a good video.
Cool.
All right. Huh.
Yeah, so apparently, just one last thing about this. It's a very common species. There are almost 400 observations of this on MO. Unless we have, a species group or something that separates by geography or whatever. But I've never seen this before, like in New Jersey.
Now you got a reason to go to Schwartzwood.
Yeah, only if someone takes me there. It's too long of a drive.
All right. Well, we can carpool someday.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else with a mushroom that they want to share from their computer? If not, I'm going to move to the email. And Brandon, you were up first. You sent the first one in. So are you ready to talk about yours?
Sure.
Okay, good. I will share. All right. Can everybody see this?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I know this one. It is a little bit older, so I was kind of surprised when I saw that the stipe had that, kind of textbook netting reticulation, but it's almost like a subtle netting, if that makes sense. But yeah, Lila, you were focusing on the margin there, kind of projecting outward over the pore surface.
Yeah.
Which is a thing for projectellus, right?
Yeah. A nice
that's
spider on there too.
That's a porcini.
No, it's not. It was placed into Aureoboletus, but I don't think this is a core species for that genus. Russellia looks similar, so maybe there's like a section of the genus where all these reticulated entities reside. But I would not be surprised if they are going to break it up and it's going to be in its own genus. It doesn't really fit the concept of Aureoboletus in my head.
Yeah, which I mean, for the most part, the rest of the Aureoboletus have smooth stipes, right?
Correct.
Similar coloration, kind of, but smooth.
Yeah, smooth and sometimes striated, as in the case with Aureoboletus Roxanne. And typically bright yellow pores, but Roxanne doesn't have bright yellow pores. But yet it's a core Aureoboletus in my opinion. But this one isn't. It's just like a big outlier. I wouldn't. Yeah, whatever. But that's where it was placed some years ago, and nobody has followed up on that subject. So presumably it's still an Aureoboletus. It's a pine associate, and we only find this in the fall, late summer, fall.
Russula is also Aureoboletus now too, right? And that's a non-fitter, right?
Yeah, Russellia is also an Aureoboletus, and it looks sufficiently different from projectellus, but I kind of grouped them together on the overall morphology.
Yeah, it looks very different, but
yeah,
But
And
it's not smooth. Yeah.
no, it's coarsely reticulated, more like fluted or anything like that. You have these deep, cavities with edges that are sharp. I mean, you really have to kind of a shaggy reticulated type. I mean, this is nothing.
Yeah.
But even
No.
projectillus can be much more reticulated than this. I would say actually this is very subdued reticulation for a
Yeah,
projectillus.
I was wondering about that because you can see the thing's pretty mature. That those tubes are really well expanded and really thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's it's more subtly reticulate because of age, perhaps? Or
No, not necessarily. This is probably the normal range of projectiles. It can be much more crudely reticulated, and I think I have observations on the Mao to prove that. But this is fine.
cool.
It can be more delicately reticulated, like you see here, for projectiles. That is.
For new people on who may not know what this reticulation means, it's this net-like appearance. Looks like there's a net overlaying on the stipe. So the scientific term for that is reticulation.
And
You can-
Lila, you pointed out something to Brandon about the cap cuticle overhanging. Is that correct? And that's why they call it project. Is that
Correct.
okay?
Yeah, yeah, you can see a little bit of it here.
Yeah, it doesn't do it much justice. I mean, in
Yeah,
a
I
fresh
think there might be
specimen.
there might be a photo that shows it a little bit better. Maybe that didn't get uploaded though.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I'll go-
can kind of see it. But yeah, I was curious. So that's a good tell, right?
Oh, here we go.
There we
Maybe.
go. Yeah.
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 Yeah, those they're almost like triangular. Some of these, the I guess it's the Pileopellis, right? Pileus just kind of overlapping the pores, kind of overtaking the pores on the margin.
Yeah, it's a good
That's
shot.
good.
Well, there's a fun fact about projectillus. It's been branded as a invasive species. It's conquering Europe right now, especially the Baltic states and Poland. Since I think I would say maybe 10 years ago. Although if you read those papers, somebody claims that that species was present in the region since the 80s. So nobody knows how a North American bolete transported itself from this continent and wound up in Northern Europe. And the
Yeah,
point of entry was the place called Curonian Spit. It's a sandbar that runs along the shore of Poland and Russia. Because Russia has a little part that's sort of not part of the bigger country. It's kind of separated. It's like an enclave that sits between Poland and Lithuania.
well, it's funny you bring not funny. It's I was kind of looking at something similar without reading the paper on it. I was just looking at the distribution of this thing after I found it because I was expecting it to have that southern distribution type deal, which it does in the States. But when you're looking at all the observations, they're all from Poland. There's one
Yeah,
person.
nobody knows how this happened, but this bolete escaped and was transplanted to Northern Europe, where apparently it became very happy with its association with the Scots pine, Pinus sylvestris.
Hmm.
And there's no evidence that it's displacing any of the native species, but it's certainly going to be competing with the local, pine-associated species like Edulus and
Lepidella.
Hemileccinum and Cantarellus cibarius.
All right, cool.
Interesting.
So
Yeah,
that was
I think it's overblown. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't belong there, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
right. It's not necessarily, doesn't invasive mean that it has a negative effect on other taxa?
Well, that's what I thought too, but now I think the definition of invasive is more broad. Basically, when something is outside of its normal range
Not,
and it
not
becomes
a
prevalent,
native.
it becomes invasive.
Yeah, if it's not native and it becomes prevalent, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
it's a good edible, but presumably it's better when you actually cook it fresh as opposed to dried.
Okay.
So that was the one that I felt good about the ID, and now I guess it's my turn to share one of these Lanmaoa, Baorangia type deals. I'm really bad at these, but I also never really get odors very clearly, and this thing was. I mean, if I think of beef bouillon in my head, it nailed the odor. And I even have the smaller one. It's been sitting on my dashboard since I found this a couple days ago. And I pick it up and smell it every now and then, and it still has that. It's a little funkier now, but still has that beef bouillon odor. And I should mention for the last one as well as this one, and the next one, I found these like in true pine barrens. I was in Wildwood for a couple days, so I found these in Dennis. If anyone knows Dennis, New Jersey.
That's got to be outside of the pinelands because there's no Lanmaoa, to my knowledge, in the pinelands. There could be pockets with maybe some kind of a strange habitat where these mushrooms would
Yeah,
grow, but we never
yeah,
found them at FPP or elsewhere in the core in the
yeah.
heart of the pinelands.
It was more like uh, Scotland Run. You know what I mean? Which
Yeah,
I guess is the Pinelands, but it has those pockets that don't necessarily feel like that.
right. Well, we did find Lanmaoa pallidorosea at Scotland Run our first year, and that observation is actually on MO.
Hmm.
So, but Scotland Run is actually outside of the
Yeah,
boundaries of
like
the pinelands, but it's close. Yeah.
right, right.
you,
Kind
you,
of
you
has
get
that.
you get the inner coastal plain and outer coastal plain overlap together sort of, and yeah, it's outside of its natural zone out because this is a hardwood associated species you would typically find in an upland forest, not in a pine barrens type setting.
So, do
So
you agree with the ID?
yes, absolutely.
Good,
Now that I've
cool.
seen all the variations on the theme of pallidorosea, and I sequenced some weird collections from Pennsylvania that happen to be the species. Yes, 100% pallidorosea. Look at the flesh, marshmallowy at the top, white, non-bluing, and of course the odor, as you reported.
Yeah, and this next photo shows the extent of the bluing. Which this was at the peak of the bluing.
Yeah, very
Probably.
patchy and not very
Mhm.
strong. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And the color on it was very blue green, which I think that also kind of fits pallidorosea. But the odor was the number one thing. Like that I never get. Oh, it's supposed to smell like this, and then you smell it, and you're like, oh, it smells exactly like that. Cool.
Yeah, so apparently the odor can be very subtle too, because all those Pennsylvania collections I referred to from Montalto that were very vividly colored, purple red, very bright and juicy. They just had a very faint odor of beef bouillon. And I thought that, at one time that maybe there were Lanmaoa phalax that may look very similar to pallidorosea, but alas, it wasn't. So yeah, very cool. This is like from Cape May County, almost like.
Yeah. You can go to the if we can click on the map, it is Cape May County. It pretty much is Cape May.
Yeah, this is unusual. It is South Jersey, and yet we find Lanmaoa in there, and it's almost like a Pine Barrens setup. Yep, I can see it now.
Yeah, cool. But it's almost, I mean, it's not the Pine Barrens, right? Because it's south of the Pine Barrens.
It's
Yeah,
south of Pine
coastal
Barrens, but
plain.
you still have sandy soil, and you have
Yeah.
still have a mix of conifers and hardwoods, right?
Yep. And the conifers were almost strictly pitch pine.
Yes.
They're I don't think I saw any white pine or anything like that in there. But this is a hardwood associate, so there was plenty of oak, there was plenty of maple, things like that. So
Right, but at the same time, note that this is the outer coastal plain. This is as much as you can get in that outer coastal plain. It's a narrow strip of land surrounded by the ocean.
oh yeah,
And you would think it's a classic Pine Barrens, setup, but it's not. Like I said before, we have never found a Lanmaoa in FPP or elsewhere within the region called the Pinelands, New Jersey Pinelands.
interesting.
But
Cool.
I did collect apparently one of the Lanmaoas in Wharton State Forest, but that was a very specific habitat. And I also found Baorangia bicolor in there. So apparently there's something unique to that little area within Wharton State Forest that allows for these kind of mushrooms to show up in a habitat wherein you would never find these things usually. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
And that happens to be the same area where I found another mushroom, which is rare in New Jersey, which is the chlorophyllum. What is it? Not the not the Bracody, the other one, with the marginate bulb. I forget its name, but yeah, I mean, I would never.
I only know the two. I only know molybdites and the one that starts with an R.
Right, so I would never have expected to find that particular chlorophyllum in that spot, but they're all coming from the same area. There's so something very special about it. And I don't know what it is. But yeah, very, very, very nice. I would think that this is the only pallidorosea that came from that part of New Jersey. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I thought it was cool too, and appreciate you, sharing the knowledge because, like I said, I struggle with those things. I try to every time we talk about them, I remember everything, but then I'm standing there looking at the thing like I don't know.
Yeah, if you could, Brandon, import that observation to MO, just that one specifically, I would really appreciate that because it's a good data point.
Yeah, will do. And then this one found at the same location, and it's a Suillus. I know it's a Suillus. I'm calling it weaverae.
Yeah.
The thing that's throwing me is the cap has like these patches. There you can see the glandular dots on the apex of the stipe that are really, really red, very prominent and really red. And the pores.
I'm not sure if this is weaverae.
I'm not either.
I have to see the cap. Yep, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weaverae.
Textbook, and it'll do that patchiness. That's normal.
Yeah, there must have been white pine in the area.
Well, that's why I amended on the last one. I said, "Oh, I think it was just pitch pine, but there had to have been white pine, right?" This thing is pretty strictly associated with white. It won't associate with pitch at all.
No, it would not grow with any of the hard pines.
Okay.
But I've seen it growing in the hemlock forest at Stokes, and I couldn't find any big white pines, but there were some white pine seedlings around.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it's a strictly white pine associate.
Cool. And before you saw the cap, were you hesitant? Are the dots on Weaver on this one like? Are they a little more red? Are they always red on weaverae? Or
No, I wouldn't call them red. That's why I was sort of they kind of looked purple to me, and the pores were kind of off too.
Hmm.
But this species is variable enough. Under white pine that grows next to my property, the form of weaverae that grows there actually resembles granulatus more than the true weaverae. It has a yellow-brown cap without those areas of patchiness, and the stipe is yellow, and the glandular dots are like almost they're kind of they're blending in with the background. They're not prominently colored, and
Hmm.
the pore surface also oozes the milk, the latex that you find in some Suillus. So yeah, but it's still weaverae because I sequenced it, so I know it has multiple forms, or at least two forms, more granulatus like that I find on my property, and the typical one that you see here with the cap being mottled, kind of a patchy or scaly, whatever you want to call it.
great.
Yeah, but that particular type of cuticle, the appearance of the color is a textbook weaverae.
All right. So maybe because I don't see a lot of white pine. I really don't. So I don't see a lot of weaverae. In fact, the only time I think I've ever found it for sure was up in Michigan in a stand of white pine. So yeah, maybe I'm just unfamiliar with the thing.
Yeah, come to Brandon Burns. Yeah, there's tons of white pine in there, and you'll find weaverae there
Hmm,
commonly.
cool.
All right.
What do you
Thank you.
do with weaverae?
Well, you can spend half a day peeling the cuticle. Otherwise, you'll get the diarrhea, and then cook it up. It's pretty mediocre, but with some mashed potatoes and some herring, it's probably good.
I'm told the prep that removing of the cuticle and the pores is not necessary if you dry it and use it like in a powder later. It doesn't have the effect that you mentioned. I've eaten them. I've taken the pores and the skin off, and I liked it.
I would never take the pores off, or the tubes, I should say, because that's where the flavor is, in my
Mhm.
opinion. But I would peel the cuticle. I never tried to dry Suillus. I didn't know it was good for drying, but people typically pickle them, and you get this very slimy, gooey uh, um, liquid. The brine, whatever you want to call it, the marinade. And if you're not into slime, then it's not your thing. But it's pretty tasty. I used to buy a lot of these canned Suillus from Europe when they were available to me back in the day.
They look really funny when you peel them. They're bright white underneath, and so they look like very naked.
Yes, but
I
yeah, I
think
mean, these are
Svetlana Nedlesky, doesn't she get tons of these on her property?
who?
Svetlana,
Which one?
Ukrainian Svetlana.
Oh, Nedozhitko. Yeah. I think she did mention that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think Suillus is mostly good for pickling. I would not recommend drying it or stewing it. But you could try, and maybe it's good. But peeling that cuticle is almost like mandatory when you cook them fresh.
I kind of remember her talking about sorry, I'm late. I kind of remember her talking about the stickiness of it and that was a part of their cultural dishes that was a part of it somehow.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I definitely remember that conversation as well. I'm not sure if it was Suillus or not. It might have been a different kind of
Mm.
sticky capped thing.
Might have been, but I know she definitely has a lot of Suillus on her property. So hopefully we'll see her yet this year. I know she's got a lot going on.
Yeah, give it a try if you come across marinated jars with Suillus. You may like it. It's actually not that bad when uh, prepared in that way.
What's the Russian name,
I tried to
Igor?
just stew them, and I didn't like it when it was just,
Igor, do you know what the Russian name is? So I can look for it in the store, maybe?
Well, it probably would probably have some English. By law, I think you have to put something, some kind of a label in the appropriate language in English. So, but the Russian word for Suillus is maslenik, which refers to the buttery or oily texture or taste. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if you live to next to a net cost market, this is where you find these things if they're still available, unless the sanctions completely interrupted the supply of Russian imports of foodstuffs. Okay, let's move on to the what appears to be an Amanita.
Yeah, and the pattern on the cap here is, I think, false. I think it's an imprint from something else, maybe a pine cone this thing was growing up into.
Brandon, did you just go with your tweezers and remove all the warts or something?
Right, that's kind of what it looks like. But no, these things were pushing up debris like nothing else. You can see the appendiculate margin there, some velar material hanging from the margin. Yeah, I think the important information comes in each photo. Yeah, there we go. So here we have one of those rooting bulbs, and you can see where it's broken toward the bottom there. That was done intentionally just to prove that this isn't just a clump of sand or dirt, but that's actually mushroom material, that white where it's broken there. So very much kind of tap rooted. I think that means section Amidella, but I found this one today, so I didn't tuck into it all that much. But it doesn't have a veil, and the color got washed out a little bit. It's a little bit yellowish towards the apex of the stipe there.
Yeah, this is not Amidella. This is a lepidella.
Lepidella. Oh, I always get those two confused.
On the bulb of that thing, where it looked like it was completely buried. Like, is that a thing to take note of? Like,
Yeah,
that binding line is crazy.
Lepidellas typically have rooting bulbs or bases of stipes. Yeah, so this is not unusual by any stretch of imagination. This is exceedingly common for all of these Lepidellas. They like to have long, sometimes deeply rooting, radicating bulbs.
But the separation where that dirt meets the stipe, is that also typical?
That's unusual when actually it tapers off and then it suddenly flares out like that. I haven't seen anything like that, but
Hmm.
clearly, it's a turnip-shaped, bulb or some kind of a pointy bulb. But typically, what happens with a stipe, it goes thicker toward the base and then expands further as a shoulder, or the top of the bulb, and then narrows down again, like you see. But here you see some constriction going into the bulb, which is unusual, I think. So maybe the way this thing developed in the drought, it was kind of possibly stunted, and then some rain uh, passed over, and it started growing again. So I think it's some kind of a unusual morphological feature that maybe was brought by dry conditions or something.
That's really cool specimen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you see, like
interesting.
it gets very constricted, and then it immediately expands into the bulb.
Yeah.
It gets like pinched off.
And then this was a different one. There were four of them growing right next to each other. And you can see how all four of them just kind of brought whatever they were growing underneath up with them. So in this case, it's just a bunch of sand. One of the other ones was just covered with pine debris. And then the one that I took the photo of the cap, it's not difficult to imagine maybe there was a pine cone or something like that rolled off, right? So I don't know. Lepidella works for me. One of the rooting section, the rooting section.
Yeah, these are tough. I cannot even think of anything. I mean, I've seen enough lepidellas in my life, and especially in the Pine Barrens, and every time I come across these, it's a head scratcher.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
have the same kind of gestalt. They're white, they're clunky, they have these rooting bases. I mean, other than some cockeri, all
Mhm.
the ones with a smooth, fairly smooth bulbs are just a mystery. And then you smell them, they all smell bad.
Oh,
Some are worse than the other ones.
I forgot to mention this one. It didn't smell. It did have the first time I smelled it, it was like, oh, that doesn't smell good. But then I went in a little deeper, and it had a chlorine odor. Definitely chemical.
Yeah, I
Not
wouldn't
sure.
call chlorine pleasant.
Yes. Well, it wasn't, rotting fish or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's also an odor like Rattal described as calcium chloride group, or some kind of a I forget the exact term, but it had a maritime significance. Some kind of a body of water that was sort of isolated from the sea. It just have a stagnating salt water. Yeah, that's how it smelled. Whatever.
Like low tide at the bay.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All right, cool. And then we've looked at enough actual mushrooms. Let me present to you Trichoglossum walteri. Um, this is the other option. Doug, a couple weeks ago, shared a Trichoglossum I forget that species name, octopartatum or something along those lines. That's very similar, but has larger spores than this one, walterii. Common name, short-spored Trichoglossum, or earth tongue, or something like that. But there you can see the setae, the hairs on the head, as well as some of the paraphyses and the lighter things in the background. And they're more or less straight. The paraphyses in the background, not like not swollen at the ends at the very least. Some of them are kind of crescent shaped, which fits pretty well for this thing. But most of this is about the size of the spores, which they do not exceed 100 microns, which for the one that is, I mean, super similar in appearance and other microscopic features. But the spores are up to 150 microns, and none of these were larger than 100, so it's not that one. And this is probably just focusing on the paraphyses. And the other interesting thing about this, it's on the IUCN Red List. Walteri is, and that has everything to do with in the UK. This thing is mostly found in kind of conservation areas that are already, vulnerable. So I think it's pretty common. Its presence does not necessarily, it's not in danger, put it that way. It's not vulnerable, I think. Just not a lot of people are looking at it here in the States enough, and the places that it's found in the UK is more vulnerable. So
Growing in the moss.
Yeah, this thing I think can grow in or out of the moss. It's not super picky, although most of the observations are found in moss.
Yeah, probably easier to see it there with the contrast, maybe.
Yeah. When you start looking at these things, you spot one, and you're like, oh my God, I've been walking by 40 of these things because they're so hard to see.
And it's septate, so 8 septa, I guess, 7 divisions.
Yeah, 7 septa. So there's 7 separations, but 8 parts, which I think that's what we talked about when Doug shared his. It's the octopartatum, I think is the species name. It's 8 parts separated 7 times because there's one on either end.
Okay. Cool.
Really nice micro.
Thank you. I try not to share one of these every week. I could, but
Why not? Sure.
that one at least has some relevance to one we've looked at recently. So cool. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. Good stuff. Hunter, you're up next.
Okay. Yeah, I've been running around, so I don't have a lot to say about what I have, but I'm pretty positive this is Hygrophorus Russula, and I think this is such a neat species. I've shown it before. I hope I'm correct. It looks so much like a Russula. I was so surprised when I first found out it's not. But it has this pinkish mottled look on the cap and on the stipe. And there's a picture of the cap as well. But otherwise really looks a lot to me like other Russulas. I think perhaps the enrolled nature of the cap is a feature, but I don't know for sure. So if anyone has anything to add or knows anything more about this mushroom, I do believe it's edible but not good. And that's about all I know about it, but I do enjoy seeing it and think it's interesting.
What are you calling this thing again?
Hygrophorus Russula.
So that's interesting that the species name is a common genus, Russula.
Yep, and because I think it looks so much like a Russula. So there's no better name.
Yeah, in this case, I just want to know that grammatically, this is called a noun in opposition. when you use a noun as a name for something. So you have a Hygrophorus, which is a noun for the genus, and then you have the species that's also a noun, not an adjective.
Yeah, shouldn't it be Russelloides, which would
No,
be
it's again a special case. You use a noun in opposition.
Yeah,
You
so
have to
it
look
is
it up.
the correct name, but
It's the correct name. No, it's absolutely correct. Just like I call that Neoboletus chameleon, that's also the case of a noun in opposition.
that's right. Yeah. Okay.
so
So
that Boletus that we call it's a Neoboletus, right? The
Correct.
chameleon. Is that the species name you apply to it? Was Neoboletus just chameleon?
Yeah, I gave it a species name that is a noun in apposition, not opposition, apposition. Appos.
apposition.
Yes, it's
Gotcha.
APP. Right. Look it up.
Okay, gotcha. Yep,
Yeah, it's a common trick. Yeah.
cool. And as for the mushroom, I've no opinion. I've never found this. It's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty. I've found it a few different times, a few different places. But yeah, this one's from northern Wisconsin, and yep, I like it. I like it, but not much more to say. Growing very similar to the way a Russula would terrestrially, and that's it. So
Good.
Yeah, that's that's a cool one.
it's
Yeah, we
pretty.
rarely see this in New Jersey. I think I've only seen it like only once or twice in the last 20 years.
Nice.
Yeah, it's certainly not common, I don't think. But I think, I think once you know it, you've probably passed it and been like, it's a jar, just another Russula, and it isn't though. So I bet it's passed by a lot. I believe this is our Midwest Matsutake, the Tricholoma caligatum. I'm not 100% positive, but it has the tapered stipe that is that Matsutake are known for, and it has this sort of chewed tobacco look on it. But I'm not positive. I thought it might be a little bit early to be seeing them. But I'm thinking that's what this is. I did collect it, but I haven't done anything with it, and I probably won't be able to do anything with it. I don't think. I should have though. Yeah.
Did we get this one in New Jersey? I don't know caligatum.
Oh, caligatum, yeah, in the Pine Barrens, like all the time. I think the last year or two we saw a lot of these in the fall, and we just call them poor man's matsutake, because occasionally when they're not bitter, you can apparently eat them, but I wouldn't eat those things. They're fine-looking mushrooms. They're very large and meaty and attractive, but
This
they're always.
one was kind of petite, which kind of threw me a little bit too, because the ones I've found in the past were meteor. Yeah, this one isn't.
Yeah, they're stocky and very substantial. I mean, they're not like tall, but very compact, but hard-fleshed, and kind of a yes, yeah, thick. Unfortunately, in the Pine Barrens, they're always riddled with sand, and as much as you brush or wash away, it just stays there. They're kind of messy, but for the most part, they're bitter. I wouldn't eat those things.
Okay, I didn't taste it. But I think that's probably what it is. So
Yeah, we'll
all right.
probably see some of this year, especially if there's enough rain. So Brandon, join our forays in the Pine Barrens, and we'll probably find some.
Yeah, when we get close to it, we've been so far north all summer so far.
Yeah,
Soon.
just one more, and I think we'll be going from that point on to the south only.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. I looked up the foray this past weekend. I was down in Wildwood, and it was 4 hours away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. New Jersey it's not easy to get from one corner to the other.
Yeah, it's deceptive. 4 hours, and I'm all in New Jersey.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
All right, so I don't know. Is it Baorangia bicolor?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Correct.
Good. Yeah, this was mild tasting. It didn't stain blue except for the pores. There was no later staining. It looked, pretty much like this, now in my refrigerator, maybe a little less red. And it was pretty. And I could have eaten this, correct?
It's perfectly edible.
Yes. Okay.
As a matter of fact, apparently all the bicoloroid mushrooms within Lanmaoa, I mean, I wouldn't go farther than that, but maybe Pulchroboletus is also edible. But everything in Lanmaoa apparently is edible.
Okay. Would you remove anything from this mushroom?
No,
No.
I would never remove anything. I mean, only Suillus I would remove the cuticle. Everything else, goes in.
Okay.
Unless it's like, I would not collect rotten mushrooms. So
No.
if it's soggy and past its prime, I would just not eat
Oh,
those
no.
because they could be contaminated with bacteria and products of decomposition. So I would not.
Yeah,
But
this one's probably just a little bit matured, just slightly.
no, this one is fine. Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Okay.
It's not rotten. Actually, it seemed like it probably dried out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like mature, but not old. Yeah.
Not past mature. No, it's
Yeah.
in its prime. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Nice.
It's kind of unusual to see the lower part of the stipe flesh discolored red, but I guess it can happen occasionally. In those kind of boletes, when in the cross section, in a photograph of a cross section.
Yes.
Back to that.
Yeah, so that's not a typical thing for any of the bicoloroid mushrooms, but again, who knows what precipitated this? Could it have been the weather? But yeah, I mean, I'm completely certain this is Baorangia bicolor. No question about it. It's a classic look.
Okay. Did you get my specimens, by the way?
Yes, I forgot to email you. I picked up my mail
that's
late
okay.
today. So yeah, the package arrived. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, cool. Oh, good.
All right. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
I just want to say that it's awesome. 2 for 2. You and I, Hunter, on our bicoloroid fungi that I
Yay.
am terrible at IDing.
Me too. I did feel like this year I'm starting to, just learn a little bit more, so it's good. This I just thought presented really funny. The way the one is flattened and open like a flower. It reminded me of the mushroom of Texas, the devil's cigar. And at first, I mean, I had to, like, it took me a minute to connect that it was the cup mushroom right next to it, just like something that stepped on it or it split open like that. honestly, I didn't get to do any work on these. I do, it looks like there's kind of pink at the base of the, yeah, there. I don't know if that's just the picture or if that's characteristic. And
Looks like a sunbeam or something kind of coming in there.
okay.
Brighter
Yeah,
light.
because it's on that leaf too.
Yeah.
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 And so I'm thinking Jafnea, but I mean it could be Pizziza. I really don't know how to tell them apart or what I should be looking for with those.
So we don't think this is Galiella rufa, right?
No,
No.
no. For
Although
sure
there does,
not that.
yeah, it's not that. Although it does seem to have. I'm zooming in here. Some kind of like I don't even know what the term is for that hymenium that Galiella has. That kind of rubbery hymenium.
Yes.
The peanut butter inside the cup.
Right. Yeah. And again, I don't think this is Galiella.
No, I don't
rufa.
think it. I don't think it's either based on the fruit body on the left. That shape is just uncharacteristic of Galiella rufa. Not the color, I think. But that the fruit body on the right, that basically shows us the hymenophore, that kind of was reminiscent of Galiella rufa in some way.
Is this up near the surface, this interior, or is that deep down in this cup-like structure?
I believe it's deep in the base of the cup.
Okay.
But it could
Yeah.
just be dirt. I mean,
Yeah, like this
yeah,
the dirt in the bottom. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
I've never seen this before that I know of.
Can you zoom in on the base of the one on the left? Is that some
It's as
kind of
much as
pink?
I can give you.
Okay.
Yeah, we were asking about that already and thought it was maybe a trick of the camera because it looks kind of pink just below it there.
Yeah, similar stuff going on up here in the picture too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that
Sorry.
is.
Yeah.
No. I think that's just you're right. Trick
Here.
of the camera, maybe.
There's a little mushroom on the left. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I apologize. I just getting the pictures taken, getting the pictures documented, then getting the pictures to Taxonomy Tuesday. It's like there's never time to do stuff with them, but there should be, but there's not right now. So, I didn't collect this one. I left it. So, but it was actually, I think INAT suggested Jafnea, so that's what I've called it. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
I wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. And then I think I might have one more, maybe not. Oh yeah, an Amanita. Yeah, and so I'm thinking this might be Amanita ravenelii. I don't know for sure. It's definitely section lepidella. I tried to dig up the entire thing. You can see I failed. It was very hard to dig this up. And I lost some of it, but it has that shape that Igor was talking about, kind of a spade or upside down rooting tip. And this was very substantial base. I mean, very thick, very, very substantial. I mean, I'm almost surprised it broke at the bottom because it was tough. And unfortunately, we can't see the gills. And I may be wrong. but that's what I'm kind of guessing. This was in Wisconsin.
I voted at least promising on this observation, so I do agree with Hunter. There's a good chance this is ravenelii. Could you please just zoom in as much as possible on the cap here? Is this as much as we can go into?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, there are two species. There's Russula and there's ravenelii, which are mistaken for each other very frequently. And one of the apparently constant morphological traits for ravenelii is the base of the warts, which are fibrous and streaky. So I think I'm seeing some of that character on the warts that are facing toward us on the lower part of the cap, right in the middle. Yeah, right here. If we were to zoom in, I would think we would find that the bases of the warts have the fibrils, extensive fibrils. And you can see them, actually, the bases are being very fuzzy. Yeah, the whitish areas at the bases of those warts that have more of that color in them at the top. But the foundation, where that broad base of that wart merges with the skin or the whatever layer of the cap that's on the top of the skin, to me that indicates that those are fibrils because they look fuzzy to me. So I would say that Hunter has identified this properly. I think this is ravenelii.
Are you talking about the section in between the like if those little pieces are like meringue, just below the toasted portion?
Yeah, where it gets broad and it kind of merges, smoothly into the skin of the mushroom, so to speak, the surface. Yeah, those areas to me they have like a kind of a radially arranged fibrils that are sort of radiating away from that center of the wart that has more color in it. And again, the overall texture to me looks very fuzzy in this photograph, which suggests fibrils. They're very like dense layer of fibrils. If you were able to zoom in a little bit more, because I think the photograph actually is in focus and it has good resolution, we would be able to see those fibrils much better.
Have you noticed distribution differences between that and
Aureoboletus? No, I haven't examined the ranges of distribution. I would think that they probably overlap to some extent, at least somewhere. I haven't seen ravenelii in New Jersey. I think what I've been finding is all Aureoboletus. But the DNA evidence is so scant, and now with Rod's website is being completely down. If there's any new data, I don't think I can find it. The trouble with lepidellus is that before the advent of nanopore sequencing, we couldn't get any ITS data just inherently for lepidella. The ITS sequences in lepidellus are always a mixture of haplotypes from the same mushroom. So if you were to do a Sanger sequencing of this particular mushroom, you would fish out a completely useless ITS sequence because it would be a mixture of ITS sequences inside. You just get a mumbo jumbo of peaks. That's it. So when I try to sequence lepidellus, I would always get LSU instead. And with LSU, the probability of that happening was much lower, but it still happened. So rarely when I was able to get a complete LSU sequence, it would always be derailed at some point in time. And you either have to separate the haplotypes or it'd be a complete mess because there'll be like, 3 or 4 things inside. So ITS, there'll be copies that would vary in length. And when you fish out them from sequencing as a mixture, they all overlay and are completely unresolvable. That's the problem with Sanger. Nanopore, with Nanopore, you can resolve those sequences pretty well.
Okay.
So that's why there's so little ITS data up till recently on lepidellus.
Yeah, and there's not a lot, really that many observations in the there's like very few in the Midwest of either of these.
Well, that's another point, how well distributed and how common these species are in certain parts of the USA. Like for instance, we see very few lepidellas in New Jersey in the upland forests. Most of the lepidellas that we see are in the pine barrens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that regional stuff can be really helpful. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea. I mean, I think it's a good starting point. Everything that we know about lepidella from Rod Tallis's website, if those identifications have been, are correct, I think this is a good leading ID. Yeah, maybe exactly that's what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the stipe is not dog-legged, it's very straight, and the bulb is substantial, and as you can see, it's radicating. You just cut it off, and it's probably still going another 2 inches
Yeah.
below
I
that, maybe
wish
even
I
more.
got it all. Yeah, this lady had come up with her dog as I was digging, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And so I was sort of, all of a sudden I wanted to get it done, and it was difficult. But so then I had to show her and everything, and she was nice. But okay, thank you.
Looks like some hepatica maybe in the growing there too.
Yes, it does.
Is
Probably
that
so.
invasive?
No, it's a nice wildflower. It's
Okay.
Spring ephemeral-ish, yeah. But they last all year, but not the flowers. I love that one.
all right, Doug. What do we have here? Neolecta vitellina.
Come in and situate myself. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, just want to sit down here. I was doing something. Yeah, I just have this one, and unfortunately, I just have this one photo. I was up visiting old friends in down East Maine near Acadia Park, and we visited a botanical garden on the south side of Mount Desert Island near Northeast Harbor. And I'm always looking for mushrooms. They're having a drought up there, just like we have. And so there wasn't a lot out. And we were walking along a path. The botanical gardens are sort of up there, they're sort of semi-wild, the curated place will blend into the woods. This is more toward the woods, right on the path, appear to be associated with roots on the kind of soil and moss. So I saw this bright yellow small thing, and at first I didn't know if it was a coral fungus or what. I got down and looked at it, and I took a photo. I eyed it, and it came up with Neolecta species. Wasn't familiar with that, and started looking, doing a little research, and it seemed to kind of make sense. If you look at it closely, you can see it has a whitish stipe there in the center, and these little club-shaped, they're not quite fan-shaped or spoon-shaped, flattened the way Spathularia flavida is. They're more thicker. There weren't a lot of them, extremely bright yellow like this. And took a look at Neolecta. There were several papers. There's one in 2017 where they sequenced the genome, and that was quite interesting. I'll discuss it a little bit. But if this is what that represents, there's two species here, vitellina and irregularis. I wasn't quite sure. Someone said that vitellina has the white stripes and irregulara has yellow. apparently, according to several papers, this is a basal ascomycete, and the gene sequencing showed that it. I mean, Neolecta used to be part of the Pezizomycotina, but they removed it based on this paper and some ultrastructural work looking at the septopore Woronin body structure, and put it in its own, I forget what that ina ending means. So it's Neolectina, and it's the only genus in that whole group. The Schizosaccharomycetinus, the S. pombe that's used to ferment apple cider and other things, is another section of that, as is pneumocystis, the lung infection, pneumocystis carini, that caused a lot of deaths from lung failure in the early stages of the AIDS epidemic back in the 80s. So anyway, it's an interesting group. Apparently, molecularly, it lost some of the genes that later ascos have, but yet retains some that yeasts do not have. And for instance, this has doesn't form any paraphyses in the hymenium, and it doesn't make croziers when it's undergoing the tip mitosis for the ascus formation to maintain the dikaryotic state. So that's different than other ascos. It's more like yeast-like. This one paper argued that it was on its way to multicellularity, and this has been a debate about the yeast hyphal transition, like the fission yeasts, really don't have the complex multicellularity that early fungi, such as this one, have. So I thought, all in all, it was interesting to research it a little bit. I love the color. I think the color was fabulous. And if anyone else has seen it, I'd like to know. I've never seen it. Quite small. It was probably about a centimeter. And there was only several of them that I could find in that whole area. And I think that's all I wanted to say about it. And I'll open it up if anyone has any questions. I might be able to talk about what I read, but as far as seeing a lot of these, no. Neolecta vitellina is what I came up with here, but irregularis may be the possibility here.
Wow, very interesting. When you said it's a centimeter, is that from side to side or one of these
No,
lobes?
Yeah, one of those lobes.
Okay.
About a centimeter, a little less actually, probably a little less.
Okay.
You can kind of see the most of this is I forget the name. These places are amazing. They have whole gardens just for moss up there, where moss is the featured thing. And you can see how dry it was for the moss to look this burned out. But so they have a lot of different mosses. I think this is brocade moss, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so you can kind of get an idea of the size from each one of those moss protrusions there.
Yeah.
And you can see a root there. Most of the trees around here were spruce. No one's been able to grow this in culture, so they don't think it's saprobic. They've tried a bunch of different stuff. And so maybe it's parasitic on roots. It's really not known. Most of the trees here were spruce. They have several species of spruce trees up there.
Neat. I don't think I've ever seen it, but it's certainly a beacon with that bright yellow.
Yeah, it catches your eye if you're looking down at the ground. I also didn't see it anywhere else in all my other places I visited when I was up there, only here. So it's certainly not abundant
Mm-hmm.
because I was, doing quite a few walks in the week I was up there.
Good. Well, a lot of interesting research that you dug up too, with the information about the yeasts and what all. Does anybody have anything they want to add to the discussion here?
Other than it's cool. No.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Very unusual. Thanks for bringing it in, Doug.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Igor.
Okay, so why don't you have a flip through the pictures, and I would like people to identify this mushroom for me.
Do we have a
Unfortunately,
cross section?
there's no cross section because this was found by a club member at the foray, and she wanted to eat them, so I left them intact.
Is that
Anybody?
red? Is that red staining post? Did it go blue then red? Do we have
Correct.
that information?
Correct. You're
So
referring to
this-
the
So did
you're referring to the pore surface, right?
yeah.
Yes, correct.
So is this maybe Rufoboletus?
No, I don't think so. But it's a good call.
Yeah, I mean the brown cap. I guess Lanmaoa would be better than Baorangia for this one.
Yes, this is Lanmaoa. By the way, you did find Rufoboletus olivospores at that foray. This is from Shark River.
So is this one?
Don't guess. I mean, you can do it.
No. I'm not going to guess because I don't think it's pallidorosea.
No, this is not pallidorosea. And
Um,
this is not pallidorosea because the caps are already brown. They're brown from the get-go.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, the species almost never has any red or pinkish tones in its cap.
The only other species I know is pseudosensibilis.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yep, bullseye.
Hey.
So
good.
when mushrooms are fresh and they feature a classic look, identifying them as a breeze. And this is a great example of Lanmaoa pseudosensibilis. All the features that are associated with the mushroom are there. And the brown caps, okay, so we're going to go from the top down. Brown caps, they're bold, not velvety. Sometimes they could be yellow-brown when bleached out by the sun or in age, but this is a typical, rich color when you have a fresh, undecayed, sort of mature to youngish fruiting body, and the pore surface is yellow. It was never red. It's always yellow, and it blues, and then it immediately, almost within a few minutes, stains this reddish brown color, which could happen to other species of Lanmaoa and other boletes, but I think in this species it's exceptionally quick, and that hue of brown is very unique.
And would you say that the stipe of these is not as mottled as, say, other Lanmaoa or Baorangia?
Yeah, it comes in as a more of a uniformly applied pigment on the lower half, and then it sort of peters out, and but still in a very organized fashion, kind of fades away nicely, like you see it here in the main fruiting body. But again, the stipes are always yellow, not rich yellow, but kind of a light to medium yellow, and they're flushed with this nice pinkish reddish tone, kind of a cold colors. I wouldn't call them vivid or juicy colors. They're cold to me, pale and cold. No reticulations, and you get bluing everywhere on the stipe while you touch it, but not on the cap, I think. And on the cap, it doesn't stain blue. And again, the main feature of Lanmaoa pseudosensibilis, that when you cut it and the flesh is yellow, it's going to blue, maybe not as vividly as in Sensibilior miniatopalescens species, but also you'll get at least patch bluing, but very quickly. And that bluing will quickly begin transforming into the same kind of a reddish brown color you see on the pore surface. So this is the only Lanmaoa that does that. And in that, it also similar to, as Brandon pointed out, to Aureoboletus olivisporus. Albeit olivisporus is not a Lanmaoa. It belongs in its own monotypic, at this time, genus that is not undescribed at this time. So these typically smell, odor is another character that they can rule out other species in Lanmaoa. It doesn't smell like beef bouillon, nor does it smell like curry in the case of Carboni liver, which is going to be published soon. These usually have a pleasant smell, or sometimes they have a disagreeable smell reminiscent of a mixture of rotten fish and cheese. I don't know why, but I sequenced those collections and they were pseudosensibilis.
And just while we're on the subject of Aureoboletus, if you were to section these, you'd be able to tell that right away. Well, maybe not right away, but this Lanmaoa, the flesh would also not stain. Is that correct?
No, Lanmaoa is going to stain blue, albeit it's not going to be covering the complete cross section of the slice. But you'll see bluing maybe mostly in the cap and some on the stipe, and it could be more patchy or developing fairly slowly as it grows and expands. But in case of Aureoboletus, the bluing is going to be instant across the entire cross section.
Yep.
And that's going to change as soon as basically within a minute. It's going to start changing to brownish, reddish brown on the bottom of the stipe, going up toward the cap.
Yeah, and then eventually landing on, dark brown, black almost, right?
Right. And in my experience, the flesh of Aureoboletus is marbled often. It's not going to be the kind of flesh you would see in Lanmaoa pallidorosea, kind of a smooth, marshmallowy, uniform. It's going to be marbled.
Cool. Nice. Thank you. More compact, which I've made the kind of observation in the past, probably here, that's a heavy mushroom, right? It's very dense.
Very heavy. But so is pallidorosea. Also has a dense flesh before it becomes marshmallowy and light. Now, again, as the case with your pallidorosea from Cape May County, this was collected in Monmouth County, Shark River, outside of the Pine Barrens, but still just a few miles away from the
Yep.
ocean, which is technically the outer coastal plain. Not even technically, it is the outer coastal
It
plain.
is right. It technically is the outer coastal plain, but also reminiscent, right? It's not the Pine Barrens, but it
It's not a
does
Pine
have
Barrens,
that
but it has that character
sandy.
just like Scotland Run
Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
Chestnut Branch. Yes.
Cool.
So
Very
again,
cool.
Lanmaoa grows there, but not in the heart of the Pine Barrens, with exception of that location, the Wharton State Forest that I talked about, where you'd find all sorts of things for some reason. Again, just flip through the photographs. Remember the species. It's a very easy to ID Lanmaoa based on the characters I just mentioned to you.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah. Let's do more of those. Just pop quizzes.
Yeah, the other email contains 2 species, 1 photograph for each, and I think they're signed. There's tags in there, and it's not going to be a mystery to people. So I could not quiz you on that because you can probably read what the labels say. But this is another common bolete across most of New Jersey because you would find it in different kind of habitats, especially in the Pine Barren type settings.
So
And this,
did these have an odor?
well, often they do. I don't remember if I smelled them, and even if I did, I just don't recall if what I found. But yes, these often are going to smell like a stale ashtray, cigarette butt, kind of a chemical, unpleasant odor. Very unpleasant. I find it unpleasant.
Yeah.
But it's non-staining. The cap is of this shade of brown. I'm not quite sure how to describe it. Warm brown, maybe some reddish tones in them. They're sort of corrugated shallowly. It's not a smooth cap. It has, ups and downs, like puck marks, shallow puck marks. This type has a yellow background covered with a dense layer of red puncta. No staining anywhere. Kind of a scruffy punctate type. So this makes this Hemileccinum rubropunctum.
Good.
Yeah, and I personally never get that odor. That ashtray or campfire, whatever you want to call it. But a little bit nose deaf over here. So I think
mean-
these things can also maybe not have the odor.
Yeah, sometimes they don't. I've smelled some and I couldn't really smell anything. Do you think it's possible, that you don't notice the odor because, you do smoke
Yes,
yourself?
absolutely.
So you're
Yeah.
kind of conditioned to it and maybe it escapes you.
Yeah, a lot of the time when I say I'm nose deaf, when I smell something, I mostly get bug spray and cigarettes because that's what I smell like. So
Well, I never smelled tobacco on you, and bug spray is just, I don't know, my nose is never as sensitive to some odors. So I just don't really notice some of the scents or just, go by me. But yeah, if you see the species often enough, you will have no difficulty identifying it as such. It's pretty, I think, easy to ID bolete once you get a good idea of what it looks like on a good day. And that was a
Seems
good
like,
day.
yeah, when it comes up, there's a fair bit of this around.
yeah,
based on-
I think it's super common.
Yeah.
I don't document as many of them as I should because, a lot of time when I'm just walking around, Not even in the Pine Barrens, here in, Voorhees and Cherry Hill and Haddonfield, wherever I'm just poking around. You see that cap, you kind of know what it is. So I don't document them as much as I should, but they're very common, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are years that I don't see any, but when they do come out, they come out in different places in the same year, which is common for many fungi. They're kind of they have their ups and downs, so to speak. You get a couple of fat years and 7 lean years, so to speak. I remember back in the day, it was a coma foray, my first one in 2008 in Connecticut. That species was everywhere. People were bringing tons and tons and tons of that bolete. It was unbelievable. Like the most common bolete at the foray.
So is it edible or is it going to taste like an ashtray?
I don't know. I have to look this up in the Beset field guide. To my knowledge, all the Hemileccinums are edible. I mean, it could be unpleasantly tasting because of that smell. But
Well, I
sometimes,
think, I think,
taste and odors, they're not consistent in the sense that something may smell bad, but doesn't mean it tastes bad.
Mhm.
yeah, maybe I'm confusing it with one of the other red and yellow uh, boletes. But doesn't this thing have like a soapy taste, or is that a Aureoboletus thing?
I didn't try either of those. I never tried that thing rubropunctum, or maybe if I have, it was a very, very long time ago. Hunter, this is a Hemileccinum.
Which one though?
Rubropunctum.
Oh, okay. Okay, the ashtray
Yeah, and
bolete. Oh,
right,
okay.
yes, and you found some labripes, which is going to be much paler. It's going to have a yellow stipe, with maybe just a little bit of red tones here and there, and the cap is going to be much lighter in color, more like leather, kind of a bleached out leather, maybe.
Yeah, and that's a good edible.
Yeah,
That
that one is a good edible, I think. Yes.
Right.
so
Uh,
this is rubropunctus.
Yeah, this is rubropunctum. I
Punctum.
think they could be sister species. I haven't looked at the tree, at the phylogenetic tree, but they do show. I mean, sometimes people confuse them with each other. It happens.
Yeah, the
Rubropunctum
smell
would,
will help.
yeah,
Yeah,
rubropunctum would always be darker in the cap and much more red in the stipe.
great.
We saw a lot of these scattered about him, Hunter, when you and I were walking.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Yes. I hope you'll show some of your observations sometime.
Yeah, if we have time, I'll show some tonight.
At the
Good.
same time, Hemileccinum sublabripes is exceedingly rare in New Jersey. I've only seen it 2-3 times, and all that was in northern New Jersey, in a more kind of a boreal setting, woods with birch and maybe hemlock, if it stokes. Okay, all right. This is the third and the last bolete that I want to show for tonight, and actually the last observation. This is a Suillus, and like other boletes, it could be seasonal. You'll be a year that you'll see a lot of it, and there'll be a year that you'll see none. This is one of the non-slimy, dry-capped, scaly Suillus. Sort of looks similar, somewhat similar to Spraguei, Suillus spraguei, also known as Suillus pictus, which is a junior synonym.
It looks like Americanus, the
Yeah.
one with
And
the cap
the
facing us.
cap, yes, has these kind of a purplish reddish splashes, and that's exactly what I was saying next. That in that way it resembles from the top, resembles Suillus americanus. But unlike Suillus americanus, this one is a strictly hard pine associate. You will never find this under white pine.
So, like, which pines did you find it under?
You have to ask Brandon. He's the collector.
Oh,
Pitch.
which one?
Pitch pine.
Oh, okay, thank
And
you.
I collected maybe 2 of these. This is from a collection table that all the Suillus decipiens got thrown into.
Right. So overall, to me, the stipe and the cap looks like a bleached out Suillus spraguei, but spraguei is also strictly white pine associate. But often enough, you would have a habitat that features both pines, like at certain parts, in New Jersey, in the Pine Barrens, like Brandon Burns State Forest, for instance. So you have to be a little bit more discerning.
And
It has
this was from Thompson Helmeta, right?
no. This is from Shark River.
8/16, August 16th.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you was there.
And there are white pine there as well, right? Didn't we have some spraguei on the table?
I can't recall, but I didn't go to the foray. I always go to the ID session. I never walk there. It's far enough for me, such that I'd never make it to the foray opening. I usually come toward the noon.
Chris would know. Chris, is there any white pine at Shark River?
Yeah, probably over by the pond, some planted pines.
Right, but unlike spraguei, which has a red cap, it is still painted and scaly, but the red tones dominate. This thing is always yellow, and the red is sort of muted, like you see in here. I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't show enough cap surface, but you can get an idea. Once you see the species often enough, you will know it's not Americanus nor spraguei.
Yeah, and I wanted to note on the color, yellow, like pale orange, like a sherbet orange. These things have, to my eye. I think that makes sense. Do you disagree there, Igor? Or?
It's kind of hard. It's I wouldn't call the cap. Here it looks more yellow, and I'm wondering whether somebody brought in an Americanus and they just mixed in, and I just didn't look carefully enough. But the other ones, yeah, I mean, it has a veil.
Yeah,
just like
that was my other question
yeah,
with the
you see the veil. You see the veil in the cap, like the mushroom.
yeah.
Right above this one, you see like a cap surface. Yeah, here, right. If you zoom in, you'll see the veil. And that remnants of that veil are going to wind up on the stipe. So it's going to present itself as a white, fluffy tissue. And you'll see that on the stipe just, to the left, right, and maybe above. If you zoom in, just kind of walk over the stipes. Yeah, that would not be found in Americanus, which I think may have some kind of a partial veil, but it's going to be very ephemeral. In this case, it's more prevalent.
And would you say with spraguei that veil is even kind of more membranous?
More membranous, but it's still sort of more cortina-like, but a very dense cortina. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. But yeah, this is a cool mushroom to know. It can be prevalent and a good edible.
Right. So the cap color on decipiens, I would say it's sort of a beigey yellowish or yellowish beige. It's fairly light. Like that cap here, I think would be a little bit too yellow for decipiens. So unfortunately, we don't see the rest of the mushroom, but I think the rest of the fruiting bodies, the remaining fruiting bodies, are decipiens. The one that's facing with its cap, is a little bit of a suspect. But the other ones have more of the typical kind of a pale, sandy, beigey cap surface.
So if you were to eat these, would you peel the?
No, the cuticle is not peelable. This is completely dry.
And you would eat the pores.
I would eat the pores. Yeah, I mean, I would just chop this up and throw it in the skillet or something, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, and I would amend that to the closed ones. These open ones. This is one that I actually eat often. And I don't eat a lot of wild mushrooms, but the ones with the kind of wispy veil kind of still attached, they're really, really good. The whole thing.
Mm.
Yeah, Spraguei is an excellent edible. And by the way, I just wanted to forget one feature, which I think is probably more common than this. The pores are large, angular, and bulletinoid. I think if you compare with Americanus, they're less so. I mean, these are much bigger and more compound than you would see in Suillus americanus.
Yeah, they're more salmonicolor looking.
Yeah. Right. And again, the colors, chicken fat, maybe more bright yellow. This is more muted. And again, association with hard pines. If you see nothing but hard pines, then your idea is bulletproof.
Right. This is so good to do.
Yeah. So if you find the species, I think it's a decent edible. You don't have to peel anything. You would not get a gastrointestinal disturbance because of all these polysaccharides that are present in the slime of weaverae and brevipes. So no extra processing is needed. Just wash them and cut them up.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and these are also really nice because I actually don't eat the stem. I kind of cut them right above the annulus, and if you do that, you can tell if there are bugs in it. And if there are no bug holes, they're pretty much normally bug free, which is nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I know, Hunter, if you get that thing, that species in your neck of the woods, but I would suspect if you have any large bodies of water, maybe closer to the Great Lakes, with more of a pine barrens type habitat, you might find these in there as well.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye out, and yeah, and maybe in Wisconsin too. Maybe I'll take a peek. Yeah, that's good to know.
Cool.
So that's it for me. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Good. It's just after 9 o'clock, so people are free to come and go as they see fit. Maybe I will show just one observation. This is from when Hunter was out here and we walked. I think all of these were, but I'll just show one and then we'll conclude because this one is kind of fun. At first I got excited from a distance. I thought it was going to be a porcini, but no, brown reticulation. So, and we only saw one of these, I think. Correct, Hunter?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it was pretty big one.
Yeah, it was really pretty.
Yeah, I think I said something about the species maybe a couple of Taxonomy Tuesdays ago. It's an unusual Tylopilus in the sense of its morphological presentation, and if you look at a phylogenetic tree of Tylopilus, this thing and its sister species, which is undescribed, I called it pseudo-Varibrunius, are actually sister taxa, and together they merge with some endemic species from China, but it's a tight and neat group of Tylopilus that sort of segregate away from the core Tylopilus species represented by Tylopilus felius. And just like felius, this species is always reticulated, but reticulations can be very subtle, like you see them here, but they're never going to be smooth.
And did you say this one was not bitter? And
they can be bitter, I think, occasionally. I haven't found enough of these, and I never ate them to begin with. But if I recall correctly, if memory serves from the Beset's field guide, field guides, they do say that there occasionally can be bitter.
Okay.
Not terribly bitter, but bitterish maybe.
Mhm.
This one I think was mild. We'll look at my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The caps are this wonderful shade of brown, but they often are tinged with olive green colors that like you see here. And the mycelium on the bottom, which is white, can also be tinged with the same olivaceous hue.
And how does this compare to porcini? You were saying it has the brown reticulations. What does porcini have? No.
White.
Porcini is white, but they can be sort of beigey in some species. The thing is with Tylopilus is that when it's young, it doesn't have the callocystidal layer, the white callocystidal layer covering the pores. And when they get more mature, they become pink. The pores become pink, or the tubes. And whereas in the porcini or Boletus sensu stricto, the pores become yellowish and then greenish. So you can see here the pores already, the color of the pores point away from Boletus sensu stricta, from porcini. This is not a porcini.
Thank you.
And of course the staining on the flesh, which is, pinkish brown, which is very common for Tylopilus, whereas Edgivus and its allies never stain that color. Yeah, somebody should try and eat this thing. I would not eat something like Grisio carneus, which is an outlier in Tylopilus, but it's still Tylopilus-like. But all the other ones are either bitter or they're perfectly mild tasting and non-poisonous.
Oh, I did some chem tests on this for fun.
Yeah, that's in the middle is iron sulfate for sure.
Yeah.
Always
KOH.
has that color, and that's KOH, of course, which always produces darker colors because it's a stronger base. And ammonia is a weaker base, and it's going to be a different color too.
Yeah.
Cool. So if that can be done in the field, but it isn't too late when you get home, I guess, apparently. I kind of thought I had to carry those around.
I haven't tried chemical tests for a while on bolates, so I don't know if anything is going to change. In the time, once you collect the mushroom and once you bring it home, if it's a long enough time, maybe something is going to change in the cap cuticle and might change the outcome of the chemical test, at least in its intensity, not necessarily in the type of the color that is being produced.
Yeah.
Yeah, here you can see the flesh really browning. Yeah, that would never happen with porcini.
Okay.
What else do you have,
That was
Lila?
a cool one.
Thanks, Lila.
Sure.
I do have a couple actually. If we wanted to try to play stump the, I like this game. Stump the expert.
Yeah, let's just keep going till till only have like a few people left, at least. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Bianca.
And while she's pulling Bianca, while you're pulling yourself up, Lila, where did you get your iron salts? Did you order them in liquid form or?
Yeah, I ordered them from a guy that sent them just as you see them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can put his email address in the chat here.
Yeah, Brandon, if you want iron sulfate crystals, I can give you some.
I have those. I just don't know how to measure them properly.
You have to have scales. You have to have scales and make a 10% solution by weight, and I can send you a precise, ratio of the compound versus water, so you can make your 10%. But never make a large quantity because it's all going to turn to rust very quickly. Because there's enough oxygen in the water, iron is going to precipitate out as iron oxide, which is rust.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about that later. What are we looking at, Bianca?
Oh, found today. I have to keep switching the shares, so I have to stop sharing in order to share the next one.
Yeah, kind of difficult to make out the details. Is this hypomycized or something? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
It's parasitized.
Yeah,
Shrimp in the
it
woods.
is.
Shrimp of the
Is it?
woods.
It's a good parasitized.
Yeah, somebody got just aborted.
It was on its own though, so that's what confused me. I didn't think it was shrimp of the woods. It actually looked almost like it was like a baby court, but not brown. It was very confusing. So I split it in half, so I don't think it would have been edible anyway.
Maybe this is not abortivum then.
Do you have a picture of the? Oh,
Oh,
Yikes.
yay.
So maybe it is Enteloma
Yeah.
abortivum.
I think it is. I think
Yeah.
the pink that we were seeing in that last photo, that's the Antheloma spores maybe moving in.
yeah. I mean, these are typically pink inside, but not so brown.
Yeah. I wouldn't eat this thing for sure.
It did not smell that good either, so I wasn't gonna even take it with me, let alone eat it.
Maybe a mixture of the Enteloma abortivum as well as a bacterial infection moving in on the armillaria.
I was gonna say that can be pretty confusing too, because I've seen them be really variable to the point where you're convinced it has to be something else. And it really just could be different stages of decomposition and other things parasitizing as well.
Yeah,
So
I
it
would never
didn't-
eat those things. Thanks, but no thanks. Just
Hey, they make a pretty good shrimp scampi.
if
Yeah,
if
they're
that floats your
fantastic.
boat, that's nice.
Well,
I wouldn't eat those things.
when you can cut them in half and be sure that it is that, that auxiliary fungus, the actual Enteloma, they are fantastic. I haven't made a
So-
shrimp scampi, but they fry up nicely.
What is it supposed to look like in this picture?
Mostly white inside.
Pink,
Mhm.
Yeah,
pink
no,
white.
Slightly
no,
Pink and white.
The color of
evidence.
like shrimp when it first
Oh,
starts
okay.
to turn pink in the pan.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, as you cook them, they'll get pinker too.
Ah,
and no
okay.
evidence of gills. Well, like kind of, but not
Not like that.
not like that. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it.
All right. How
Again, they can
about
be pretty variable though, and there can be ones that are like half parasitized but not completely, and they're just kind of mutant looking.
Yeah, so it's the right season for them too, because now armillaria is coming out, so that species is being
That's true.
parasitized by the Enteloma, and you would not see them in summertime if it was in reverse, or probably not at all, because you don't see any armillaria in summertime, right?
Yeah,
No, I
On a
normally
blue
see it in
moon?
the fall.
Yeah, we'll only see this in the fall. Yeah.
and
So this
armillaria is out right now.
Oh yeah.
is it.
Oh my
Okay, I
gosh.
saw only the babies right now, so I have to keep looking. So I thought this might have been a coral, but it's a little confusing because it sort of looked like the starts of the cauliflower as well. Let's see if there's the other one.
I think it is a coral, and next time I'm going to show an observation of the species that is being parasitized.
Like this?
Something, and I think we call that something cinereus or cinerea.
Yep.
So
Yep.
what's the host for the parasite? What is this thing?
Well, this one is Coralloides to my eye.
Ramaria?
No, I think it's
Clavulina?
Yeah, Clavulina coralloides.
Okay.
If you look at the apex, if we can zoom in on the tips, you'll see they're kind of fan shaped.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Let me go in the back. There we go. Photo. Yes, they are fan shaped. I agree with that. I've never seen this thing before. So this is how it's supposed to be.
Yep, pretty fresh too.
Okay. It was very small. It was about the size of like a little bit bigger than a golf ball.
Yeah, and
Maybe the size of like a jawbreaker, if you remember.
yeah,
those.
that would have been my follow-up question. Because a Sparasis at that size would be much more compact. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be as broken up. Whereas this thing has branches throwing in every which direction.
Okay. Thank you.
About the name, is Coralloides the current name or it's cristata?
Not sure. I think they're the same thing though.
Oh yeah, that is the same thing, but I'm getting references for cristata
Yeah.
and Coralloides being a younger name.
Coralloides is the name that I learned it as, but yes, I'm not sure which one is, currently more accepted. I think they're both accepted, but I think that everyone knows they're the same thing. I don't know which one to call it.
What was the genus you put on it?
Clavulina.
Clavulinopsis?
No, Clavulina, I think.
Clavulina, okay. Yeah, I didn't look that up either. But yeah, Clavulinopsis, which I don't know which
Okay,
one.
looks like Clavulina maybe, yeah.
According to Wikipedia, it is edible.
I wouldn't have thought.
So this thing gets infected, right, by something.
Yeah,
The one-
Cinerea, or what did you call it, Igor?
Well,
Shimosa?
I only know the species name, but I don't know the genus name. It's not a fungus, I presume,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes kind of misshapen and kind of a
Smoky color.
smoky bluish gray or something like that, or blackish gray.
Yeah. Yep. And that was also believed, I think, at one point to be a different species before it was understood to be kind of an infection
Right.
by another fungus.
So my question is, what's the name of the parasite, and what kind of parasite is that? Anybody knows?
Well, there was a lot of Russula
Sorry.
that had what I thought was hypomyces on just like it was all over the place. Is it a potentially just more hypomyces, but just parasitizing a different mushroom?
No, that usually parasites are very host specific.
Oh,
Sometimes only parasitizing a particular species within a genus. So yeah, I'm looking at Michael Kua's Cristata page, and he discusses Clavulina cinerea. And it will take me obviously to read this, more carefully, but I'm not going to talk about this now. I'm going to post the link to that so anybody can take a look and read it at leisure.
I was on Wikipedia, and they still have Clavulina cinerea.
Oh, I see that Lyle already posted the link just a minute ago. Okay.
Yeah, I think Cinerea is maybe something else. But the Cristata and Coloroides are the same.
Yeah, but what we were talking about is that Cinerea thing is actually it's not a species. I don't think it's a species within Clavulina. It's a parasitic fungus on the Clavulina.
Oh,
yeah. So it's a misnomer. Yeah.
okay. Mm.
So you're seeing an infection and thinking it's a different species. No, you have a something that's known being attacked by a parasite, changing the morphology and appearance of Clavulina. Yeah.
this was on a
Cool talks
conifer.
about. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah, what has she got here?
So this was a very foul smelling mushroom. I broke it off of this, the lower part of a conifer, and it has like a ring around it, but it was a shelf mushroom with white pores. Show the other side. There you go. But it smelled something awful.
Huh.
It doesn't look like it smells, but it just was, I want to say almost like acidic smelling.
So this is growing on a conifer and it has pores, right?
Yeah.
Or are these elongated teeth or something? Elongated pores
Mm,
almost look
it
like teeth.
looks like shelves of pores.
Yep, shelves of pores.
what did you say? Shells? Shells of
Shelves,
pores?
shelves of
Shelves.
pores.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yes. Thank you.
The thing that is catching my eye is the one that is dead center, out of focus a little bit. Is that capitate stipitate? Like, does that thing have a
So
stem
no,
and a
that's
cap?
no. That's how it attached to the tree. There's no. That's not a. There's no mushroom there. It's just it was attached in a funky angle,
Yeah.
and that's
Okay.
the
Yeah.
detachment from the tree itself.
Yeah. Cool. No help with an ID.
No help. No help, huh?
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
we got to
Wow.
flip through the polypore book even to get an idea of what this might be.
Yeah, what did the surface look like? The cap surface? Kind of
Tan,
brown?
yeah, tan with like a brown ring around the edges, but it just didn't. It felt like it was flaring away from where it was attached, so you can see the attachment point a little better.
Yeah. All right, so somewhat zonate and smelly, huh?
Oh man, like I at first when I looked at it, I'm like, oh wow, this is actually really pretty. I was considering drying it maybe, but I didn't even want to like when I even was taking a picture, I needed to back away. It was it was potent.
And what's going on at the big one in the foreground here? Like at
No. That's where it's I detached it from that lower spot. That upper one with the black on it is actually its own growth that I didn't touch. But
Right.
this is the detached from that lower one that you thought looked like its own mushroom with a stipe.
Right. But what's going on at the margin at like the 2 o'clock of that? Looks like there's something sticking up, like
Vertical
pyramidal.
things, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's not flat. It's like like it has a
It
bad
is, you're right.
hairdo or something.
Yeah, so it is those are where it attached to that point there. It was this kind of angular piece, and then through it is these the
Pine
pine
needles.
needles are actually growing through it.
Yeah, so this is indeterminate growth. So it just eats up junk as it grows.
Right.
Here you can see it's growing right through them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so nothing, not even a start.
Confidently, polyporales.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great.
Or maybe polypore HA.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Maybe.
I think I succeeded today with stumping the experts, so I'm I'm gonna move on.
We're not really strong on polypores, and they are very difficult. They're much more difficult than boletes.
Yeah,
believe
we
me.
need Luke for those. He might have
Alright,
had a
so
guess for
then-
you.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. So I found a lot of these mushrooms, and I'm not sure exactly. I'm gonna guess there might be melted jacks. That's my guess for these things.
Wow.
Like they were just blobbing about,
Or
and they are
arm-
large.
or armillaria.
Melted
Armillaria,
Armillaria.
Oh,
right, yeah.
armillaria melt. Okay, fair, fair. I just never expected here. I have one turned about. Let's see if I can pull out the single one. Oh, where'd it go? Oh. Well, I saw a bunch of them. Does this look
Oh,
like
yeah.
armillaria?
Yeah,
Okay,
this
all
is
right.
this is this Armillaria tabescens. Yeah, I think.
Oh, here, I'll bring up the other. Here's this.
The ringless honey. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow, I didn't recognize it. So now I know.
Older.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
sorry. That's Armillaria cespitosa. That's the North American species. Yeah, tabescens is European.
Okay, good. That makes clear.
Yeah, typically those are
and-
the first Armillaria that arrive at the scene in the late summer. You
Mhm.
start seeing them, especially this summer because it's been so much cooler in August.
Yeah. After big rain, they pop out. Yeah.
So this is the one that was from the one that was melty, and it has this puncture into the center of the cap. You still consider that? You think it's armillaria?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Good to know.
Fortunately for the trees, these don't grow rhizomorphs, so they don't travel like the regular Armillaria does.
Malaya.
All right.
Malaya.
So here
They're
is,
less pathogenic.
this is the top of the cap, and then the underneath is this guy.
Oh, here we go.
Alveolaris.
Oh, yeah.
Americanus.
Neophavolus.
Yeah, this is some kind of a Neolepidus, yeah,
Yeah.
and most likely not Americanus. I mean, sorry, most likely not Alveolaris, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's so white on the cap.
Yeah. Probably Americanus, or isn't that even that have more than one species?
Yeah, we have
Group.
a bunch, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much research has been done to elucidate them. But there's probably at least 2 more species or 3 more species in addition to Neolepidus alveolaris.
All right, and this, I believe, is the obvious. Oh my gosh, turkey tail. One of the turkey tails. Oh my God! Come on, brain.
Trametes is turkey tail.
Thank you.
Trichoptum is something else.
Oh, it's not. Okay, here's the.
Well,
let me
if
see
you have
that.
if you have the pore surface or the other surface,
I'm getting it.
the fertile surface. I think this is Trametes.
Okay,
Right,
that's
Brandon?
what I wanted to double check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was funny to have that green fuzziness on top.
I
It's-
don't know if anyone has like done a study on Trametes versicolor. They're either the most highly variable mushroom ever, or there's some kind of cryptic things hiding amongst Trametes versicolor,
right.
in my opinion.
Well, that's why it's called versicolor too, you know.
Right.
Yeah, that is true.
Mm,
What
Yeah, but-
about
good point.
Trametes hirsuta? That's
Yeah.
Yeah, hirsute, and that greenish color is probably from the lichen or something like that growing in there.
And
Al-
algae.
Moss,
Algae is yeah.
algae,
Algae.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny that the algae actually made it fuzzy on top. Like it.
No, no,
I-
no,
in the
it's
photo-
growing
no, no, no.
fuzzy. The algae's making it
Okay.
green.
Yeah,
The
the algae is bringing the
hirsuta.
color, the pigment. The texture is from the
Yes,
mushroom
yes.
itself.
So
No,
it's
that's-
not,
that's what
it's
I meant.
not versicolor, it's hirsuta.
I don't think this is versicolor. No, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
closer. Hirsuta is a better guess on this one, I think. Hirsute meaning hairy. Hirsute.
Right.
Oh,
So
okay.
It's also a
All
little
right.
thicker, it looks like, and
Yes.
the growth mode, they're like singular lobes that you showed.
Right.
You know what I
The
mean?
forest looked a little larger too, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a little bit creamier. Versicolor will really be pure white.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. So this one is called Hersa.
Hirsuta.
Tremidis
Hirsuta.
hirsuta.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm gonna type it in.
Thank you. And I think I've got just one more.
Check
The
this
top.
out here.
Oh, I have two more. This one. Well, the other one I think is a common one for my area. That is the top. This is the underside. I want to say compacta, but it didn't smell bad, so I was a little suspicious.
It's from section or subsection compactae. But
Okay.
apparently it could be. Can we see the top of that thing again?
Of course.
It's probably one of those species that stains red and then black, like densifolia or the simulants. But they are from section or subsection compactae, for which the type species is Russula compacta.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was gonna say this doesn't look like compacta.
No, this is not compacta. No.
You can see some of
Okay.
that brown staining upper right, like 2 o'clock.
Well, it's
Yeah.
more blackish than brown. Compacta stains. It has a non-white cap surface, kind of an orangish maybe, or tannish orange or tawny.
Yeah.
And then it stains brown on the gills and on the stem which are white when you.
I don't think it goes red though. Does it?
Well, not red, but it's sort of a specific color of brown, kind of warmer brown.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but not red. No.
Yeah, like a reddish brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more brown than red. Yeah. So apparently we have another species in this group. One of these specimens by Nina and Jana.
I got
Sorry,
that.
Nina and John got sequenced or resequenced.
NJ03.
NJ03, and
Yeah,
that is from that group. Yeah.
I have one on iNet that came back as NJ03.
Cool. Because
Yeah.
Nina's picture only shows the cap, and it's not a very good quality.
You're saying this might be NJ03?
Could be.
Could be.
What?
Not NJ03. The gills are too tight. It's also not going to be. I forget. Dissimulans and densifolia. One has tighter gills. One has, less crowded.
I think the simulants has wider gills, if I recall correctly.
And then we also do have Michigandensis, which is the thing that both Nina and John and I called the thing that came back as NJ03. That we were both kind of, if it checks all the boxes for Russell and Michigandensis, and then it came back 03.
Wow.
Right. Recall that both the simulants and densifolia are European names.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that we have those species here in America. As a matter of fact, I would bet that we have our own quote-unquote densifolia, the simulants. I have a book by Sartori, which is in Italian, which it's a 2-tome, 2-volume book that weighs 20 pounds. And it's a spectacular book on Russula, that came out before the advent of DNA sequencing. I think the first edition dates back to 1997 or 1995, and he recognizes the simulants, but then Cifolia is mentioned in passing as if it's not like a legitimate taxon or something.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I should bring
All right.
those books in for people to admire. I mean, they're really great, except that they are in Italian. But importantly, the keys are in English for some reason, or there's a version of keys in English.
Can your hatchback haul multiple volumes of that gigantic book?
Well, it can, but I think the gas mileage will not be spectacular.
Anyway, what we got here? Amanita?
I believe Amanita. This is a common one. I see this, and it was very prolific in the little park that I was in. This is what I normally see a lot of in whether Turkey Swamp Park or there was. Oh, this was the same photo. Let me go back to the other one.
Yeah, I think it's the usual suspect, given the time of the
Yes.
year.
Right. I
Well,
just forget the name.
Amanita lavendula group. Anybody?
that's what I mean.
To try
That's what I
on.
was.
Yeah, Citrina is not a legitimate name.
Oh, okay. But it would be in the lavandula group.
No,
No.
it's just not a proper name. There's no
Oh.
such thing as Citrina.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That
That's
purple,
a picture.
reddish, translucent cap, right? Is the
Well, the cap is sort of a kind of a pale citron color, but when it
Right.
gets cold, all these purple tones show up in some of the species. Hence the lavendula name. Lavender, kind of a purplish, violaceous purple. It hasn't been cold enough, but I think the vulva may stain that color in some species. But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the bulb, but the cap
I
enough.
tried. It didn't want to come out. It just messed
Yeah,
up. So I didn't even.
it's a clunky bulb with a marginate upper top.
Yeah, see, it stayed in the.
Yeah. Well, I've seen these at Brandon Burn State Forest just a
Yes.
couple of days ago, so they are beginning to come out. I think because it's been so chilly, unusually chilly for the for late August, early September, that these are coming out earlier than usual.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I saw.
All right.
I mean, I've been finding crenulata for a couple weeks now.
Oh yeah, I've been finding crenulata. Yeah, Brandon Burn was one of the dominant species. They were like everywhere. So it's strange that during the summer we barely seen any amanitas, and now they're coming out like in full force.
Well, we went back into, it didn't rain in August.
But
And
even in July, when it did rain, we didn't find many amanitas. And Lila was at Montalto, and she can attest to the fact that the Amanita collections were, they're also scarce. Lots of boletes, but not many amanitas.
True enough.
yeah, just anecdotally, we've had some rain in South Jersey recently. And this past week, I've seen more amanitas than I have all summer. So
Yep.
maybe we're going to have a good, fall amanita season.
Yeah, I think more rain is going to come in later this month, if you believe the weather forecast, around the weekend of Nymph. So, if that does happen, I think we're going to have a very nice early fall season for mushrooms.
And I was
Oh, that's it
looking
for me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Bianca. Good to see you.
You too.
Well, what else do we have?
All right, let me stop the recording. I'll bring up a few more things. This is getting long here. All right.